Padres fans, we got some piping hot tea. So sit down, grab a cup, and let's talk about what is going on today and how it might change the entire course of this franchise. So hear me out on this one on another episode of Padres Digest. I'm Christian Pedersen. Welcome you back to the show that is curious, literally worth the parking hassle. There are some fire spots there. I have not tried all of them, but I'm curious what you guys think there in general of the parking to worth it ratio. Or maybe it's just an Uber trip in and out. If so, let me know. I'm rambling. We've got you Darvish stuff to talk about. There is ongoing fluidity in the situation, but I think that is all signs are pointing to one thing for this. We got to get to that information in just a second. Before that, though, we got to say thank you to Kalshi. All of today's news is brought to you by Kalshi here on Padres Digest. They are America's largest options trading network. They've got you covered in all 50 states. That includes California and Texas. So wherever you're at, Padres fans, they've got you covered, and we've got you covered with the code DIGESTMLB. If you use the link that is below to sign up for Kalshi when you trade your first $100 in options, you get $20 free courtesy of using the code DIGESTMLB. It's something from us to you guys. It's good for everybody, good for all parties involved, just like the potential news that we've got on you, Darvish. All right, let's talk about it. As of me recording this, 4:37 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, all of this may be out of date by the time you are watching it, and if so, I apologize, but I am going to say where there is smoke, there is fire, and that let's show you the quick succession of headlines that have popped up, calling up the first of the graphics here. This one from the Union Tribune, Kevin Acee breaking a story initially saying Padres pitcher Yu Darvish poised to walk away from his contract, indicating that Darvish had made the decision to forego what was left of his time with the San Diego Padres. Then a flurry of response ranging from reporters to reports from Darvish's agent to comments being made. Darvish, despite reports not going to retire, then it became leaning toward quote-unquote voiding contracts. And I think at this point you guys probably get where we're going with this, is it became kind of I am showing you a quick succession of a headline saying that Darvish was retiring and then quick rebuttals from everybody else. So as of right now, per me recording this, Yu Darvish is not retired. But like I said, I think kind of where there's smoke, there's fire. If I had to guess, and this is just me armchair quarterback guessing on this, I bet Kevin Acee jumped the gun on breaking a story that is happening, but that Darvish wanted to be in the leverage spot of controlling a narrative, both with the franchise and with the fans and with himself, and just wanted to do it in his own way. And Kevin Acee coming out there and saying, boom, he's retired and walking away, like just taking all of the oomph out of that probably meant that Darvish was going to respond with, no, we're doing this. But I would, maybe it's not going to be this afternoon. Maybe it's a process where it wouldn't. Let me show you what we got left on the Darvish contract, where it might not be about the money, but this is $15 million a year for 2 more years, or $16 million this year, $15 million for 2 more years after that. Apologies. It's a lot of money, both for Darvish and for the team, and again, in reading the tea leaves for you guys and dropping my take on what's going on here, I think that Darvish probably has reached a point in his offseason rehab where it doesn't feel like he's going to be able to dial it back up to 100-something innings worth of being a pitcher, and is probably doing the math in his head of like, rehabbing to come back and throw a little bit, but also just maybe not feel quite right. Is it all going to be worth it? And then just being stuck in this hell of like, I'm pitching in El Paso every 2.5 months only to never feel good. Or should I just walk away from the game? And I don't think that Darvish is the kind of dude that's going to walk away. His kid goes to Cathedral Catholic here in San Diego, is an upperclassman. You don't want to necessarily, like, that's a lot of change to be like, oh, what are we going to do? Move to Japan, move back to Texas? I think he's here. I think he's in San Diego. I think he's probably not looking to be like, oh, I'm going to retire and completely walk away. I bet he rehabs and we saw Phillip Rivers come back. I think he wants to stay in the Padres orbit and have some opportunities to both just be here for players and be a Craig Stammen aged guy who's like, hey, I'm a veteran leadership. I'm not playing this year, but I've got, maybe a foot in both buckets as coach and as player. And I think that he probably wants to figure out a graceful way to do that. Well, maybe also leaving the door open for himself to come back if he does need it by the midway of the season, that he feels better and they need an arm, or that he can commit fully to being a coach after that, and or an advisor or whatever. It just and figuring out the nuance of all that versus Kevin Acee coming out and saying Yu Darvish is retiring. Probably that's where the lost in translation is right now, and I bet we are all. It to me would seem to be that we are on a path toward Yu Darvish. ... retiring ? Reducing contract ... voiding contract. All in all, we are. I would be curious what the percentage of you guys out there that were even holding on for Darvish to come back and try and finish out ages 39, 40, and 41 on his contract after having the injury-plagued year plus calendar-wise that he has had. And given that he's a guy who I don't think he has the interest in not succeeding at a decently high level. I don't think he's just I'm going to go out there and go 2-14 and cash my check. He seems like a guy who probably would prefer to not end his baseball career just getting smashed every 5 days. So, okay, I even then, if only 1% of you guys, if there was a 1% chance that he was going to come back and do this, great. But if not, maybe it's not that kind of impact on the Padres. But the impact that this is going to have on the Padres is that if he's walking away from $15 million, either one, at the very least, that helps the contract situations not be as over the tax and stress level and I think the Padres ownership right now has expressed both sides of the interest of wanting to cut payroll and also wanting to sell, and so maybe not cut payroll, but they're not out there trying to hand out $40 million a year type of thing to straddle the next owner with any more potential debt. So the Padres, at the very least, it is a net positive for me to maybe say that the Padres getting this contract off the books helps them have a clearer path to the next move in the season, for a trade, for this, for that, the other. I'm in the more optimistic versions of it. Getting $15 million off of the books means, I was texted, I've gotten texts that say Bassett, Verlander, Scherzer, some variety of people that are in that. Okay, we can take the $15 million and we can instead, if we only spend $8 million on a Scherzer for a year or two, then we're still saving something. I think that you could maybe make beyond that a case that this goes towards Arraez. I still don't. That's a weird one. I don't get what's going on there in terms of, is he just only going to hold out for the umpteen $20-30 million a year for 3 years? Like maybe a 1 year run it back. Not a report on that, but you see what I'm saying. It starts to offer some discussion of flexibility, and when you have that flexibility that was basically in exchange for avoiding a contract that was going to be dead money anyway this year because of his injury, it seems like a win-win for everybody. Obviously not a win for Darvish in terms of walking away from that money and walking away from that job, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the Padres are going to kick him out on his butt and be like, get gone with you. Pay him whatever $1 million a year to be a special advisor. Let him sit in the let him sit in the dugout. Let him sit in the bullpen. Let him be around the team. Keep him here. I love it. I love him. Let's have it all be good for the Padres. I think there's a way to handle this, and Kevin Acee maybe jumping the gun, tipped the plan as to what's coming, but maybe got it there quicker than Padres fans were hoping. That's my theory as to what's going on, is that Yu Darvish has made a decision to lean toward, if not decide on retiring, but is trying to figure out the way in which to do that most advantageous to himself and the San Diego Padres. Let me know what you think on all of this, both on Darvish himself and the situation of him retiring, but also on what freeing up that money could potentially mean for the San Diego Padres. And as always, if you want to hit the subscribe button, never going to be mad at you for it. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon.